Here's a hot tip on how to get rust off of rusty parts. Just use muriatic acid. Put it in a tray, have lots of fresh air around you, wear glasses, rubber gloves. We're going to take these parts, we're going to put them in this tub here, put some acid on them. Half an hour later, rinse them off with some water, blow them dry, put some paint on them, like new. No problem. There we go, we get the parts in. We'll take some acid and we'll dump it in. This acid's been used a couple times, so it's kind of not clear. It's kind of got some iron in it from previous rust removal. And even if they don't get submerged in the acid, no problem. You can still flip it around, you know, with some tongs and let them sit a little longer. There we go. I'll let them boil for a while. You can see how it's activating. Iron's activating the acid and it's breaking down all the rust. And it's just pure muriatic acid right from the jug. Yeah, for all you guys on the internet, you know, that are, you know, wire brushing rust and scraping it with scrapers and sandblasting it and, you know, glass beading, using vinegar, you know, this is the quickest, fastest way, and it only costs $13 for a gallon of muriatic acid, and you can do a pile of parts. I'm going to just dig in here and show you how it's coming along, and it's only been 15 minutes. See, those nuts are really rusty, you know, and look at, they're starting to get clean now. Once you wash off that residue, you can see that steel's coming up really good. And it's only been 15 minutes and they were really rusty. I'm going to set this over here. That one's doing pretty good. Throw that out of the way. I'm just going to show you this piece. This is really bad. Look at it now. Look at that. I think that's just 15 minutes of muriatic acid. And a little bit more stuff coming off there. I'll flip it over, give it a rinse with some water, blow it dry before the humidity oxidizes it again, and paint it, prime it and paint it. Done. We'll just take a couple parts out here. Come along pretty good. This is coming along really good. It's well submerged. Make sure you got a real good hole in these parts too. And try not to do that. Because it'll splash. And you get it on you and you have to rinse it off with water before it starts burning. It'll kind of burn your skin, it's caustic. Yeah, see, look at that. A little bit of black paint on there. That's what that is. And there's a tiny little bit of rust right there in the middle there yet. But you can see the serial numbers. A little bit more rust on top here. Still needs to eat out a little bit more. But yeah, it's kind of gassy a little bit, but if you're outside, it won't bother you. I'll throw these parts back in here now. A little bit of rust right on the thread right there, so I'll get that. You can get it submerged in. This one here needs to cook a little longer. That's only been like 20 minutes now. Those parts are like seriously rusty. You can see here how the acid is spilt on the concrete floor here. You just take a little bit of water from this pail and dump it on there. Kills it right away. Cleans the concrete good too. But if you ever get splashed, you know, just put lots of water on it. I mean, they put this stuff in swimming pools to change the pH level. So it's not like it's gonna, you know, eat right through you like the picture shows you on the jug, and you're gonna lose all your skin off your hand. If you soaked it in there for 2 days, yeah, that would happen. But you know, you get on it, it burns a tiny little bit. You just put some water on it. You got a little bit of dead skin in that spot. You basically, you know, put some water on it and it kills it. So here we'll take this piece out. And what's nice about the muriatic acid is you leave it in for as long as it takes just to remove the rust. I mean, eventually it would break the steel down over a long period of time, but you know, if you just remove the rust. So here's a bucket of water here. I'm just going to rinse it off. We'll take a look at it. I know it probably needs more because there's a bit more brown right there in the middle of the picture. So let's try this and we'll see what it looks like when we rinse it off. There, now look at that. Like, you know, that's 25 minutes and it's like it's almost a brand new part, and the acid gets right down into the microscopic pores of the steel and gets rid of it. Gets rid of the mess, the rust. So I'm just going to do a quick blow here and then I'll get back to you. So there's what it looks like blown dry with that there, you know, and keep a little sanding, smooth out the X that the acid does, and then that's it, you know, just paint it, prime it, paint it. So there's some really nice clean bolts. U-bolts for a differential. I mean, they're kind of pitted a little bit, but they're usable. And look at the nut. It just spins right off, and it was on there all along, and it just turns just perfectly. No rust behind it. The acid gets right in there and cleans it right out. Like in Ontario, after 5 years, this is a caliper from a Mercedes-Benz, and they get pretty scaly and pretty flaky, and you know, you'd think this thing is like toast. You know, go buy a new one, it's seized. You know, there's so much scale on it, you know, that you could hit it with a hammer and scale half the rust off of it. You know, but we're going to put this in some muriatic acid for about 15 minutes to half an hour, and we're going to bring it out and we're going to get that bleeder screw loose. We're going to take a wrench and take that off, or vice grips, it will come right out. So let's see what happens. This is the acid, just out of the acid. Drenched with water, blown dry, and this is when you take the wire brush over it a little bit just to kind of clean up the oxidization from the acid that kind of leaves a gray kind of powder on it, and then here's with some paint on it. Now I'm going to take this acid, put it in this little green container. Be careful. Got a bucket of water in case I make it spill. I can kill it. And that should be good for my next project. Old jug of muriatic acid. Put this in here. If I get a little spill, no worries. Just hit it with the water. There's a really clean nut. Alright, so now this, you just wash it off. And voila. A little bit of grease in there, like it kind of boils the grease off the top of the parts. But anyways, put it back on here. And my next project this is a 1984 rear caliper off of Mercedes-Benz diesel, and it was something I saved before I scrapped the car because I can clean these up and make them like new again. So I'm going to show you how I can turn this 20 years of rust on a caliper from Ontario into a really nice caliper that you can reuse and lasts a lot longer. Just put her in here, give her back. Look at her go, she loves that. And acid loves that rust. We'll bring it out in about 20 minutes, half an hour it might take, because the acid is used and it's starting to get a lot of iron in it. It'll be weaker, but that's good because then it won't, eat the heck out of the part. And all the rubbers are on there still, the pads are still on it, all the bolts to hold the caliper bracket on are there, and the acid will not touch the rubber or the boots or anything that's even paint. It won't even touch paint. So it's it's really user friendly for all those parts. Okay, we'll just take this caliper out of the acid now. It's been in here for about 45 minutes. Let it drip a bit. Wow. So there's a rusty caliper, and this one was scalier than that one is. And that one's off a Volvo. This one's a Mercedes-Benz. And look at it. And that bleeder screw should come off just fine. And this is what Ontario is like. So I'll clean that caliper up too. Put that in the acid and clean it up. So I'll just disassemble this now and blow it dry and put some seals in it if it needs it, and throw it in my stockpile. Put some paint on it, throw it in my stockpile. Here's the caliper. The matching caliper that's not done yet. That's the before. And this is the one that we just acid dipped. Looks like new. A little paint on it.